Have you ever looked at someone you love, maybe a parent, a grandparent, or even a friend in their late 70s or 80s, and thought to yourself, they seem fine, just a little tired, maybe a bit forgetful, moving a little slower than usual? You brushed it off. We all do. Life gets busy. And besides, isn't that just what aging looks like? But what if I told you those little changes, that quiet tiredness, the skipped meals, the forgotten birthdays, the way they hold on to the wall when they walk? What if those weren't just signs of getting older, but gentle whispers from the body trying to tell you something's not right? Here's something that might surprise you. After age 75, 99% of deaths come from just 5 key causes. Not 10, not 20, just 5. And the scariest part, most people don't recognize the warning signs until it's too late. And that's why we're here today. Because this isn't about fear. This is about love. This is about understanding what's really going on beneath the surface so you can protect the people you care about and maybe even yourself. It's about making sure that the final chapters of life are filled with comfort, dignity, and strength, not suffering that could have been prevented. So, stick with me because today I'm going to walk you through the 5 most common causes of death after age 75, what they really look like, and most importantly, what you can do right now to avoid them, or at least spot them before they become life-threatening. And let me tell you, some of these causes aren't what you might expect. One of them is so subtle, you might not even think it's a health issue at all, but it can quietly drain the life out of someone over time. So, if you care about aging well or caring better for someone in their later years, this is for you. Comment. I'm here below if you believe knowledge is the key to living a longer, healthier life after 75. And don't forget to subscribe to Elderly Wisdom Insight, where we share real compassionate advice every week to help you age with strength, purpose, and peace of mind. Let's get into it. Let's begin with the one we often hear about, but still underestimate, the heart. Now picture this. Henry, 78 years old. Always the one up before sunrise. You'd see him every morning walking around the neighborhood with his cap on, waving at neighbors full of life. But one day, Henry stopped showing up. Then a few days passed. When someone finally asked, he said, "I've just been a little tired lately." Nothing big. 6 months later, Henry was in the hospital. Turns out his heart had been struggling in silence. No big warning, no dramatic symptoms, just a steady, quiet decline. His morning walks, they were the first thing his body gave up on, long before he realized something was wrong. This is what cardiovascular disease looks like after 75. It's not always a heart attack in the middle of the night. It's often subtle, gradual, hidden behind phrases like, "I'm just getting older," or "I don't have the energy like I used to." As we age, our arteries start to stiffen. The heart has to pump harder. Blood pressure begins to rise, often without symptoms. And slowly cholesterol builds up in the vessels, narrowing the paths where blood should flow freely. The heart becomes overworked, and yet so many people write it off as normal aging. But here's the truth. That kind of tiredness, especially when it shows up suddenly or becomes persistent, is not just about getting old. That breathlessness after just a few steps, that dull ache in the chest you think is indigestion, that dizzy spell you had and forgot to mention. These are not just age. These are clues. Quiet signals from your body asking for help. And the biggest mistake families make, ignoring these signs, we tell ourselves, "He's just slowing down," or "She's just having an off day." But in this age group, those off days could be the only warning you get. Now here's what you can do. Start with regular checkups. Know your blood pressure. Know your cholesterol numbers. Don't wait for a crisis to pay attention to your heart. Make small, meaningful changes. Add heart-healthy foods into your meals. Oats for fiber, berries for antioxidants, leafy greens for circulation. You don't need a gym membership. Just a simple 20-minute walk each day can strengthen your heart more than you think. If you've got a loved one over 75, check in with them. Ask how they've been really feeling. If they've stopped doing things they used to love, like gardening, walking, or even just talking with others, it might not be a mood swing. It could be the heart asking for attention. Because the earlier you notice, the more power you have to do something about it. But the heart isn't the only silent threat waiting in the background. There's something even more overlooked. Something that changes the way a person speaks, thinks, remembers, and slowly, quietly changes who they are. Let's talk about the second silent force that takes more from us than we often realize. Not just years, but identity. Martha was 80. A warm smile, always made the best apple pie, and never missed her grandson's birthday. But one day, she misplaced her keys. Then again and again. At first, her family joked about it. Grandma's just getting forgetful. It seemed harmless until she forgot her grandson's name. That's when the laughter stopped. The doctor said it was Alzheimer's. By then, too much time had passed to slow it down. Her family wasn't ignoring her. They just didn't know the signs. They didn't know what to look for until the disease had already taken root. This is the quiet devastation of neurodegenerative disease. After 75, your risk of Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia doubles every 5 years. It's not just about forgetting things. It's about the brain slowly losing its ability to process, recall, and even control the body. Inside the brain, harmful proteins start to clump together, forming what we call plaques and tangles. These interfere with memory, communication between brain cells, even basic thinking. And it doesn't stop there. Parkinson's, another silent predator, begins not just with tremors, but with small changes like stiffness, slower movement, even a slight shuffle when walking. Things that seem minor until one day that small shuffle causes a devastating fall. The biggest misunderstanding. People think dementia is just about memory. She's just having a senior moment, they say. But it's so much more. Sometimes the first signs are emotional. A once joyful person becomes withdrawn. Someone who made careful decisions starts giving away money or making reckless choices. Others lose their words mid-sentence or start repeating stories over and over without realizing it. These are not quirks. These are changes, and they matter, but here's the good news. While we may not have a cure, we do have tools to fight back, especially when we start early. Engage the mind every day. Encourage puzzles, reading, conversation. Even something as simple as learning a new card game or trying a different recipe can challenge the brain in powerful ways. Support brain health with a Mediterranean-style diet rich in fruits, vegetables, fish, olive oil, nuts. The kind of food that fuels not just the body, but the mind. And don't underestimate sleep. Deep, restful sleep helps clear harmful proteins from the brain, almost like a nighttime cleaning crew, giving your brain the maintenance it desperately needs. If you've noticed changes in a loved one, don't wait. Don't assume. Gently bring it up. Have the conversation. Because recognizing the signs early can mean more years of clarity, connection, and life. And while the mind shapes how we think and feel, there's something even more dangerous that shows up without a sound. One missed step, one slip in the bathroom, one fall in the kitchen. Let's talk about how balance and mobility can become a life or death issue. Now let's talk about something that can happen in seconds, but change everything forever. Something so common, so easily brushed off as an accident, yet it's the third leading cause of death after 75. Falls. Robert was 82, lived alone, still sharp, still proud of his independence. He slipped in the bathroom just once. One fractured hip, and things were never the same again. That fall triggered a rapid decline. He couldn't move around as easily. He became less active. He started skipping meals. Depression crept in. Within months, his health unraveled. And here's the painful truth. This story isn't rare. As we age, bones lose density. Muscles weaken. Reaction times slow down. Even a minor stumble on a loose rug, a dim stairwell, or a wet bathroom floor can lead to broken hips, head injuries, and a long, painful road to recovery, if recovery even comes at all. But here's what most people don't realize. Falls aren't just accidents. They're usually symptoms of deeper, preventable issues. It might be a medication that causes dizziness, a pair of worn-out slippers with no grip, a dark hallway without a nightlight, or simply a lack of strength from not moving enough. People think it was just bad luck, but most falls are predictable and preventable. That's the empowering part. Start with the environment. Install grab bars in the bathroom. Use non-slip mats in the shower. Remove loose rugs and clutter from the floor. Improve lighting throughout the home, especially near stairs, hallways, and bedrooms. Then look at daily habits. Encourage gentle balance exercises like Tai Chi or chair yoga. These aren't just for flexibility. They train your body to react, to stay upright, to recover from missteps. Review medications, regularly. Some pills cause light-headedness, especially when standing up too fast. A pharmacist or doctor can help spot risky combinations. And perhaps most importantly, don't wait until after the fall to take action. Because one fall, just one, can rob someone of their independence, their confidence, their spark. This isn't just about avoiding injury. It's about protecting the freedom to move, to live, to feel strong and capable well into your 80s and beyond. But physical safety, as vital as it is, isn't the only hidden danger. There's something else. Quieter, but just as deadly. Something that can start with a little cough or fever and turn into a hospital stay no one expected. Let's talk about chronic infections and why they pose one of the greatest risks to life after 75. It started with a small cough. Eleanor, 79, didn't think much of it. Just a little cold, she said, a few sniffles, a slight fever. She stayed in bed, drank some tea, waited it out. But within a week she was struggling to breathe. Her family called an ambulance. The diagnosis: pneumonia. She never saw it coming. And sadly, she's not alone. After 75, respiratory infections like pneumonia become one of the deadliest threats. What feels minor in someone younger, just a chest cold or sore throat, can rapidly become life-threatening for older adults. Here's why. As we age, our lungs lose elasticity. They don't expand or contract the way they used to. Tiny airways become less effective, and clearing mucus or infection becomes harder. On top of that, the immune system weakens, meaning it takes longer to fight off even the simplest viruses. And if there's any chronic illness in the background, like diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, that risk multiplies. One of the biggest misconceptions is brushing it off. It's just a cough. I'm just feeling a bit under the weather. But for seniors, there's no such thing as just a cold. Even a low-grade fever can signal something far more serious, especially if it's hanging on for days. Fatigue, shortness of breath, confusion, chest discomfort. These aren't things to ignore. The good news, there are steps you can take to stay protected. First, vaccines matter more than ever. Keep up with your flu shot every year. Ask your doctor about the pneumonia vaccine and, more recently, RSV protection. These aren't just for children, they're essential tools for older adults. Second, hand hygiene. It sounds simple, but regular hand washing, especially after being in public spaces, can be a powerful defense. Avoid crowded areas during flu season. And if a friend or family member is sick, it's okay to say, "Let's reschedule." And don't forget about the air you breathe at home. Keep indoor air clean, open windows when possible, use air purifiers and maintain humidity at healthy levels. A dry throat or sinus can be more than uncomfortable. It can make it easier for viruses to take hold. Check in with yourself or with a loved one. If you notice a cough that lingers, a fever that won't go down, or just an unusual tiredness, don't wait. Call your doctor. Ask questions. Be proactive. Because infections don't wait. And when treated too late, they can steal weeks, months, even years. And now we come to a final cause. It's not always in the body. You don't see it on an X-ray, but it affects everything. How we heal, how we live, how we wake up in the morning. Let's talk about something just as serious as heart failure or infection. The slow, quiet toll of emotional decline and loneliness. Mary was 85. Her children lived out of state. Her friends had either moved away or passed on. She stopped calling. She stopped going out. Some days she didn't speak to a single soul. And her health, it declined faster than anyone expected. Not from a stroke, not from cancer, but from something quieter, something few ever think to treat. Loneliness. Yes, loneliness. The invisible illness. And it's one of the most overlooked causes of death after 75. We like to think of aging as a time for rest, for quiet reflection. But isolation isn't peace. It's a health risk. When someone is isolated, days with no conversation, no touch, no shared laughter, it takes a toll deeper than you can see. Here's what the research tells us. Social isolation increases the risk of heart disease by 29%. It raises the chance of stroke by 32%. And it drastically accelerates the onset of dementia. How? Because depression in older adults doesn't always show up as sadness. Sometimes it looks like skipping meals, avoiding doctor appointments, forgetting things that used to matter, or just not having the energy to care. When the heart feels alone, the body starts to follow. Appetite fades, the immune system weakens, sleep becomes shallow. Even wounds, both physical and emotional, heal slower. Yet the misconception remains. They just want to be left alone. They're tired. Let them rest. But the truth is, humans don't outgrow connection. We don't age out of needing love, conversation, purpose. So, what can you do? Sometimes the smallest acts make the biggest difference. Pick up the phone. Check in even for 5 minutes. Set up a weekly video call. Help your loved one find a local community center, a book club, a church group, even a walking buddy. Encourage intergenerational moments, grandkids, neighbors, friends. Even something as simple as a shared meal once a week can bring light back into someone's life. And if you're the one feeling alone, reach out. There's no shame in asking for company. You're not a burden. You're a human being worthy of connection, of care. It's hard, isn't it? Watching someone you love slow down, lose interest, forget names, struggle to breathe, and sometimes watching yourself feel a little more tired than usual, a little more distant, a little less like yourself. It's painful, not because you're weak, but because you care. Because deep down you remember who they were or who you were, full of life, purpose, energy. But here's the truth that hurts. Ignoring these signs doesn't protect us. It only speeds up the decline. That silence after a fall, that subtle forgetfulness, that brush off of a cough, that loneliness no one talks about. They're not small things. They're signals, the body's quiet way of asking for help. And yet here's the part you need to hold on to. You are not powerless. Whether you're watching this for yourself, your partner, your parent, your friend, knowing the risks is the first step toward prevention. This isn't just about adding years to life. It's about adding life to those years. Joy, dignity, peace of mind, being able to walk to the mailbox without fear. Remember your grandson's laugh. Wake up excited for something, even if it's just a cup of tea on the porch. You have the power to change the story starting today. Call someone you haven't spoken to in a while. Ask your doctor about that lingering fatigue. Go for that gentle walk. Start that puzzle. Try one new recipe this week. Just one, with something heart-healthy in it. You don't need to overhaul everything. You just need to begin because aging isn't the end. It's the next chapter. And with love, with attention, with the right knowledge, these final chapters can be the most meaningful, most beautiful, most connected yet. And that's something worth fighting for. So let's take a moment to gently go back over what we've just uncovered, because this knowledge could save a life. The 5 major causes behind nearly 99% of deaths after age 75. Cardiovascular disease, the silent stress on the heart that too often goes unnoticed. Neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Quiet thieves of memory and independence. Falls and mobility decline. A simple slip that can change everything. Respiratory infections like pneumonia. Seemingly small illnesses that can spiral out of control. And finally, social isolation and depression, an invisible weight on the soul that pulls down the body. 2. These aren't just facts. They're real stories, real lives, real people, maybe even you or someone you love. They may seem silent, but they're not invisible. You know what to look for now. You know how to respond. And I'd love to know which of these 5 causes surprised you the most. Have you seen one of them play out in a parent, a friend, maybe even in your own life? Take a moment to share in the comments. I read every single one, and your experience might help someone else feel seen, understood, or inspired to act. And if this video helped you see aging in a new light, if it gave you something to think about, something to feel, or something to do, give it a like. And please subscribe to Elderly Wisdom Guide. Every day we're here, sharing simple life-saving tips, emotional insight, and heartfelt guidance for seniors, and for the people who love them most. Because aging doesn't come with a manual, but together we can make the journey a little easier, a little brighter, and a lot more meaningful. Thank you for spending your time here with me today. Take care of your heart. Keep your mind active. Stay steady on your feet. Watch out for those quiet illnesses. And never underestimate the healing power of human connection. You're not alone. You're part of a wise and caring community. Stay strong, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next video.